do you think changed? Because you're right, he's kind of sidestepped this question of whether he would vote non-confidence, saying all options on the table, but not being clear. So what do you think has changed seemingly overnight?
Yeah, clearly overnight. I think he's heard a lot from his constituents. I think he's also heard from his own caucus. I mean, there's been some mixed messages going on, So he's had members of his caucus go on the record saying they'd vote non-confidence, yet he refuses to say so when asked directly by journalists. And I think that the pressure is also building on him. Let's remember, they're not in a very strong place either politically or financially. So they didn't have a real appetite for an election right now. And I don't even know if the soonest possibility would be as soon as they resume back in the House of Commons. It might be more likely going to March or even into April where he'd actually have that motion. So he's giving himself a little bit of time and trying to build up some political capital with his constituents to say that, yeah, I'm going to be the tough guy. I'm going to be the one that's going to fight both the Liberals and the Conservatives. But I think really it's a last-ditch effort on his part to do that, given that I think the rest of the country has already moved on to that conclusion.
So does this actually add anything to the pressure on Justin Trudeau right now? The polling, the number of Liberal MPs who have already been calling for him to resign ahead of the next election. What does this add to that conversation?
Well, I think he was probably going that direction. I didn't think so at the beginning of the week. I thought he was going to delay and say, certainly Mr. Singh's words gave a lot of room for the Prime Minister to delay, to not make any decisions till after the holidays. But this has really ramped up the speed to which they have to act. But now he's in a really difficult position, Mr. Trudeau is, because really the time for him to resign would have been last February. By waiting this long, he has put the party in huge peril because they have rules about how leadership races go. And their internal constitution says you can't actually start the leadership race until 28 days after the leader resigns, right? So we don't even have that. And then, how do you put together a leadership race in the wake of a non-confidence vote that may or may not happen when Parliament resumes? So they've got to figure out, do they prorogue? Does he resign and stay on? Do they have an interim leader? So the machinations and just the logistics of pulling this off have become that more difficult. And then there's the question of who wants that job given the state of the Liberal Party right now.